Welcome back, YouTube. My name is Nigel. If you guys don't know me, I want to thank you all for tuning into my channel. Today, we are going to bring you guys some more of the great finance information that we love to bring you. Make sure that if you're not subscribed yet to the channel, that you go ahead and you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment on this video, even if it's just saying, hey, just let us know that you're out there on the other side. We want to know who's watching our videos and let us know if they are helping you. Let us know what you want to see going on in the future. And please stay tuned throughout the whole video because, of course, the best information is always at the end. Today, we're going to talk about 10 things that you should know before you purchase a car from a car dealership. So this is going to be whether you're purchasing a new car or a used car. Some of these things are going to lean more towards new cars. Some of them are going to talk more about used cars. But all of them are going to help you in the car buying process and making your decision on which type of car you want to buy, when you want to buy, how you want to buy this car, and the best way to buy this car without assuming a whole bunch of extra fees. So with that being said, let's get into the video. So the first thing, and I think the most important thing that you need to know before you go to the car dealership is, what type of car do you want? Do you want a new car or do you want a used car? There are many different benefits to buying both types of cars, and there are different situations where you may want to buy one or the other. New cars typically get a lot lower of interest rates. New cars, generally, there's other ways that you can take advantage of lowering the price of them, which I'm going to talk to you guys about a little bit later in the video. And the full Carfax if you get a new car, and you know what's honest and true. Whereas used cars, certain things can be hidden. Um, there is the potential that you could be buying a lemon or a car that has a lot of issues. Um, you could also be buying a very great car. So you want to make sure that when you're in this car buying process, that you're remembering that you can get either type of car. The second thing is, before you go to the dealership, you want to get a pre-approval. You want to go to the dealership with the pre-approval so that you already ran your credit, got pre-approved, preferably through a credit union. Go somewhere that's going to give you a low interest rate. You know, get a good interest rate and already have that pre-approval before you go to the dealership. There's a couple reasons why you want to have that pre-approval before you go to the dealership. And most importantly, you want to have that pre-approval before you go to the dealership so that they're not shotgunning your credit out to a bunch of places, running you a bunch of hard inquiries that could potentially cause you issues with your credit later on, as well as whenever you buy a car with a pre-approval, it's considered a cash deal to the dealership. So therefore, you only have to negotiate the price on the car and not negotiate your financing. So just remember that. The next thing is, remember that your salesperson is getting paid based upon commission. Your salesperson is getting a percentage back off of that car. They're getting a percentage of dealership holdback fees. They're getting paid based upon how much they sell. It's a commissions based job. So you have to remember that when you go into the dealership, because if you ask a salesperson certain questions, they're going to answer them in your favor. Should I get a new car versus a used car? Oh, get a new car, because if you get a new car, then once you get that car, you're going to be able to have a car that you know everything about and this and that, and they're going to sell you on all those different types of things. Some of them are going to be true. Most of them will probably be true. However, like I said, there's certain situations where you don't want to get a new car. You may not be able to afford it. It may not be the best financially reasonable thing for you. And that salesperson is going to try to sell as high as they can. So they're going to try to sell you something new, even if they know it's not in your best interest. So with that being said, the next thing I want you to know and understand is lenders will overlend to you. A lender will lend you more than they know you can afford in car, or more than what's reasonable for that car. So when you get your pre-approval, just because your pre-approval is for $50,000, that doesn't mean go buy a $50,000 car. This may be your opportunity to buy, a $20,000 car, $15,000 car, pay it off quickly, not have to pay all those extra fees, and still have reliable transportation without hitting your debt to income ratio, without affecting how much house you can get later, without affecting, credit card approvals and other things like that. Because if you play it right and you're playing within your means and not going for the maximum, it can be very beneficial to you. Now, the next thing I want you to think about when you're buying a car, and this goes back to overlending. There's certain things that are on your credit report. There's certain things that are not on your credit report. So based upon what's on your credit report, they can come up with your debt to income ratio. And as long as your debt to income ratio falls within a certain range, they can lend to you. However, your car insurance is not factored into that debt to income ratio. So whatever your car insurance is, you want to make sure you're factoring that in with your monthly payments and your monthly bills to know that you can still pay for that car and pay the insurance on that car. So you want to call the insurance company when you pick out whatever car you think it is that you want and say, hey, how much is my insurance going to be on this car? Because if my insurance is going to be ridiculously high on this car, then I may not want to buy this car because I need to buy something that's going to offset the insurance, my raise in insurance when I'm buying a new car. Because new cars have all types of new fees. Some of them have new body styles and different things that are more expensive to fix. So insurance companies typically charge you more for a newer car because of all the stuff that's inside of it and electronics and those little nuances and features that we want. But those nuances and features cost us more money on the back end in car insurance. It may raise your car insurance $100 just by you going and getting a new car. So remember that depending on how old your current car is, you're going to see a difference in your insurance. It may go down, it may go up. It all depends on your car that you currently have. The next one is when you buy a new car, think about the depreciation value and the maintenance. And this is where used cars come in handy. If you're going to buy a new car and you look up that car, you research that car, and you find out that that car has a horrible depreciation value, that car is, not going to hold its value at all. You drive it off the lot, you lose $5,000-$10,000. Why would you buy that car new? Buy that car used. Get the same style car. Get it maybe a year older, but let somebody else be the person who has to pay all the interest and pay all that depreciation. Don't let it be yourself. You know, don't be the one to take the hit. Let someone else take the hit and then you go and reap the benefits. Because once it's driven off the lot, that person takes the hit for depreciation. You can come and buy that car. Some cars you can find with barely any miles on them, barely anything on them, and get them brand new and enjoy those cars, practically new with the depreciation already gone, so the dealership doesn't care. And when it comes down to maintenance, make sure when you're buying a car, just like with insurance, factor in your maintenance. Make sure that you know what it's going to cost you to keep up with that car. Because if you buy a $10,000 car, but it has you know, a crazy amount of maintenance that has to be done on it to keep it up. Maybe you could have bought a $20,000 car that required less maintenance and still ended up the same. So always think about that when you're buying a car. The next thing is your MPG and MSRP. Like I said, with researching the car you're going to buy, how much gas is this car going to guzzle? Is it going to just sit there and suck up gas, suck up gas, suck up gas? If it is, then I don't want to buy a car and it's just going to keep burning gas. Like personally, I drive a hybrid because if it's just burning gas, burning gas, burning gas, that's money that you could be putting towards your car payment. Right along with knowing, how much that car goes for and, having researched how much that car sells for in your area. Because remember, dealers will tag on fees. Dealers will try to raise up the price of that car as much as they can before they sell it to you. And this is another reason to go in with a pre-approval, because then you're only negotiating in one area of finance. You're only negotiating in the MSRP, the value of the car, the price of the car. So you don't have to negotiate your interest rates or anything like that. Because if you guys didn't know, the dealerships can also tag on a certain percentage to your interest rate on your car when you go to buy a car. So maybe your lender is lending to you at 10%, but the dealer is going to show you 14% as an interest rate so that they can collect the other 4% residual every month. The next one is accessories. There are so many different accessories that are on the market. There's so many different things that can be sold with cars. So many different things that are out there, and you don't just want to buy any and every accessory because it's available to you. Make sure that you're taking into consideration what accessories are available to you, what they are, and that you are buying the ones that are appropriate for yourself. If you want them, if there's none that you want, then don't buy them. Don't buy those accessories. Don't buy any of those things just because they're being offered to you. Because that's another thing that they're going to try to sell you to make up some of the money that they're thinking they're getting over with, because they get paid off commission. The next thing, year-end cars and rebates. Make sure you take advantage of year-end cars. Make sure that you take advantage of rebates. Usually rebates are pretty good on year-end cars, and that's a way that dealers will actually kind of cut you some slack because they get that money back from the manufacturer. So when they see a rebate, they're going to take advantage of it, right along with year-end cars and getting rebates on them, because a year-end car is generally going to be cheaper than the next year. So when you go to buy a car, make sure you're going, towards the end of the year, go October, November, December. Like this is the perfect time to start car shopping if you're going to buy a car off of a dealer rather than buying it from someone, someone else as a private sale. The next thing is fees and rebates. Make sure that you're taking advantage and actually reading over when you buy a car and see, is something a fee, you know, um, you know, and what different packages they're trying to sell you. Don't just buy any package just because it's there or they try to put it on your car. Say, hey, what is this package? Okay, do I want this? Do I not want it? If you don't want it, tell them to take it off. If you see a fee on there and it's not a tax, tell them, hey, take it off. Or if you can't offset this, you can't take something off the car, or you can't add more value to a trade or whatever it is, I don't want this extra fee. Cut it out, because those are just other ways for that salesperson in that dealership to make some of money back off of you. Now, the last of the 10 is make sure that you get gap insurance, because gap insurance is going to protect you in case of anything happening with that car, whether it's a car accident, rather, the car gets totaled, Whatever it is, have that gap insurance so that in the case that something happens to that car and it's over the value that you can afford to pay for or your insurance company is going to pay for, that you have gap insurance. Also, preferably make sure that you have uninsured motorist, because those are things that are going to protect you in case of getting in an accident with someone else who cannot pay off your car, and then you're going to end up trying to sue them, and it's going to be really hard trying to find a lawyer that's going to hold up to those cases because they don't end up making a lot of money, so they may not want to pursue them. And lastly, but not least, my bonus for this video is if you can't afford to buy that car cash, grossly consider buying a car from a private seller. Consider buying a cheaper used car, driving that car for a while, saving that money or investing that money. Because if you take that same $500 a month, or $400 or $300 a month, whatever it is that you're paying for your car payment, and you buy a cheaper car, and you invest in fixing that car up and saving to buy a new car later, or investing money to grow that money and get a newer car later on, you're going to be able to get a lot more car. You're going to pay a lot less interest, and it's going to be a lot better for you in the long run. I know a lot of times people get kind of discouraged about buying a used car and then the car breaking down or something like that. However, there are very reliable used cars on the market, and if you do get in a used car that does break down, generally it is still less expensive than going and getting a new car and paying financing and paying all those fees. And you're able to, like I said, if you save $500 a month on a used car, even if the engine blows within the first year, putting a new engine in that car and driving that same car is still cheaper than going for a new car a lot of the time. So make sure that you're taking all those things into consideration when you're buying a new car. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for staying tuned. Let me know how you felt about the topics in these videos. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next video.